Thank you for joining me today on our video series, Great Hymns of Faith, from St. Andrew's Episcopal Church, where we explore a different hymn in the Episcopal Hymnal 1982. My name is Ryan Hebert. I'm the organist and choir master here. Thank you so much for watching our videos. Today we'll be discussing a Pentecost hymn, 501, Come, Holy Spirit, by whose breath. This is a hymn based off of a medieval chant, Veni Creator. And today's organ setting is by the famous Baroque composer Johann Sebastian Bach. I hope you'll stick around. Our hymn today is hymn number 501, O Holy Spirit, by whose breath, which is actually a German chorale, Komm, Gott Schöpfer, Heiliger Geist, which is a hymn by Martin Luther, which goes back to 1524. And the translation of that German tune is Come, God, Creator, Holy Spirit. This is a German hymn whose roots go back even further than the 16th century, to a Latin chant called Veni Creator Spiritus, a 9th century hymn attributed to Rabanus Maurus. Maurus was a 9th century Benedictine monk who was known for authoring several hymns, and incidentally he was a vegetarian who did not drink wine. Veni Creator is a famous chant often sung for the Feast of Pentecost and for ordinations. Pentecost is often named the birth date of the Church. It's the story from the Acts of the Apostles where the Holy Spirit descended upon them, and they were speaking in different languages, yet they all understood each other. Hymn 501 is a paraphrase of Veni Creator, and it has an English translation that was done by John Webster Grant, who is an English clergyman in the United Church. Like many German hymns, the source of the melodies included new music, popular music, and chant. This was because the phenomenon of congregational singing was new in the 16th century. So hymn writers and theologians often had to go to sources of tunes that people were familiar with. Well, people would have been familiar with Veni Creator. But the challenge with getting congregations to sing together is to meter music, and chant has a very fluid meter. So these tunes were adapted with a specific metrical structure to make them easier to sing. The text of the hymn speaks of the breath of life that the Spirit brings, fostering and igniting our hearts for inspiration and creativity. Fire is often used to personify the Holy Spirit, creating a burning desire for us as humans to create, to unite, and to love. The organ setting that you're going to hear today is by Johann Sebastian Bach, who is arguably the most influential and profound composer of the early 18th century. Many other composers have used Veni Creator as the basis of their composition, including Gustav Holst's Symphony No. 8 and a famous organ setting by French organist Maurice Duruflé, which is a set of variations on Veni Creator. One of the interesting facets about the representation of the Holy Spirit is that the Spirit is invisible and silent. So how does a composer use sound to represent a silent entity? Well, a lot of times the Holy Spirit is thought of with the personification of wind and fire. So oftentimes composers will set this particular aesthetic with scales and rapid moving notes, and you'll hear this in this particular setting. The number 3 is also very important in this chorale prelude, and Bach was the consummate theologian in that he was able to capture theological ideas in his music. So the number 3 is important because the Holy Spirit is the third person in the Trinity. So how does Bach do this? Well, first of all, he sets it in 12/8 time. Now, if you're not a musician, that might not mean much to you, but each of the beats in the music is divisible by 3. And so what he does is that he highlights that third beat with recurring pedal notes on beat 3, always to represent the Holy Spirit, with flashing scales moving up and down. Most composers probably face a challenge with how to represent any visual image in sound, and Bach does this better than any other composer. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you've enjoyed learning something about a hymn that we don't get to sing very often. The Episcopal hymnal has over 700 hymns in it, and most congregations only use a small fraction of that 700 hymns. As we expand our knowledge and we grow and learn more about the hymns in our hymnal, I would encourage you to reach out and let me know if there's a specific hymn in our hymnal that you'd like for me to feature. Hope that you enjoyed learning something about Johann Sebastian Bach in this setting of this hymn, and we'll see you next time.